And so here we are streaming on Kick, and at about 5 seconds after I upload it to YouTube onto YouTube. So welcome everyone, both Kick and YouTube listeners. I'm your host Anthony, and to my left, to your left, is it? I think yes, to your left is Marsh. Welcome, Marsh. How you going?
Hey, how you going?
Yeah.
Got some rain here today.
Lots of rain. There's
Lots of rain.
ugly skies. It's not a great time of year. But and the worst time of year is spring in Melbourne. It just is windy. It's blustery. You never know whether it's going to rain or not. Um, Melbourne is known as four seasons in one day, and that's especially true of spring. The weather is just so unregulated. It's just terrible. Anyway, enough of my complaints. I won the lottery when I was born in Australia. I won the lottery, and I'm sure you feel similarly.
Dude, I am grateful. I used to see John Paul II when he would go to a new place. He'd get down and kiss the ground he was on. He was grateful for wherever he landed. So I'm grateful to be landed in America.
What if John Paul the Great just hated flying? You know, the whole experience. You cramped in the papal front row. You never got a place for your laptop, and then when he got out, he said, kiss the ground." You know.
Well, I wonder if they had like a little bed for him to lay down in the plane? Probably.
No, it's just a regular plane that they lease from Alitalia.
Well, right,
there's no
but
bedrooms on the papal plane. It's not like Air Force One.
uh,
Hmm. Anyway, we've got two viewers, so welcome to the room, two viewers. If you feel like chatting, then say something in the chat, and it'll come up before me. I'm not sure on this one. I don't think it comes up on the screen, but I'll read them out anyway if you got a chat. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We talked about cryptids yesterday. Did you ever get around to looking up the Minnesota Iceman?
I didn't get a chance to look up the Minnesota Iceman. We were talking
That's the
about,
only guy I know in Minnesota. It's the Minnesota
yeah.
Iceman. Yeah. In Australia, we have.
Well, let's,
Go
yeah.
on.
No, I mean, I was going to ask you, what do you have in Australia?
What? Sorry.
What type of cryptids do you have in Australia?
Yeah. Well, we have a bunyip. Now, a bunyip is this creature that typically lives near water, and there's various descriptions of it, but it's some sort of beast that'll kill you and eat you, basically. Now,
Is there, go ahead.
my theory is there was such a creature. Um, because look, let me set the scene, and this has a bit to do with myths. Um, about 10,000 years ago, there's a place in Australia called Warrnambool, uh, and the Aborigines have this myth in their story time that mountains grew out of the ground almost overnight and spewed fire and rocks from the top of them. So obviously talking about volcanoes. Um, However, the geologists say there haven't been volcanoes down in Warrnambool for about 10,000 years. So this mythic story has been in the consciousness of the Aborigines down that way for 10,000 years. They've been retelling this story. And I find that extraordinary. I find it wonderful. Uh,
Maybe, but I was thinking as you were saying that about a bunyip, uh, kind of lives near water and will eat you. Maybe that was a story because there are myths about, hey, there's a creature in the woods, don't go over there at night. And it was like, if there was a settlement or something in the woods was scary at night, and there were creatures in there, and it was like you could get lost, and Indians and things like that. So could it have been a bunyip? I just me thinking off the top of my head, could a bunyip be them
Be
to
a
warn
fairy
their
tale.
children not to go around water because lest they drown?
Well, possibly, but I don't know. Like all up and down the east coast, there are similar stories of the bunyip in Australia, and it has various names, which I can't remember right now. But it always has the key elements that near water holes, there lurks a creature who will eat you, basically. Um,
And a crocodile.
Now, fairy tales are an interesting story. So, if you look at your average fairy tale, like Little Red Riding Hood, for instance, Little Red Riding Hood is told, "Don't cut through the woods. Always follow the path. You'll find Grandma's place. It's a bit longer, but you'll find it safely." Now, that is a warning to kids to not wander off from certain paths because danger lurks in the wolves. And the wolf can be bad people. They can be highwaymen or something like that, or murderers or rapists or crazy people or whatever it is. But the trick of the fairy tale is in some sort of mythic way, it tells the children, do this, don't do that. The reason is you'll get in big danger if you leave the path. So, yeah. So I see what you mean. Is the bunyip a fairy tale or a myth? Um,
Well, what's the difference?
well, I think a myth is it's real, but the details have been lost to us over time. Whereas a fairy tale is it's real, but we're putting it to you in a metaphor that a child can understand. I'd say.
Okay.
Um,
Humpty Dumpty, stay on keep your eyes on the ball. You stay on that wall. Eye on the prize. You know what I mean?
yeah, go visit Grandma, but don't get eaten by a wolf on the way. I think, like when I was a kid, that story was a whole lot better. They've pussified that story.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like the wolf ate Grandma, and then the woodsman came along and killed the wolf and chopped him open and rescued Grandma. Now, maybe Grandma wasn't supposed to be rescued. I don't know. But nowadays, hang on. Um, yeah, sorry, my phone rang. I didn't expect that. What else is going on? The Pope has taken a day off from his holiday. I don't know. In Europe, they have big long holidays, don't they? About 6 weeks.
I'm not from Europe.
We only get 4 weeks annual leave. You get about 20 days.
2 weeks annual leave.
Yeah, that's awful. Oh, well.
Yeah, but we get other holidays too. But I'm probably not going to get them in the new job. Oh, I got a new job, and
Good.
Smaller company, and they have it, which has its trade-offs. I've worked for big companies, small companies. One of the trade-offs with the smaller company, good thing is they have more of an open door policy. They have more of a hands-on approach with their employees rather than a big meaningless, faceless.
Are you trying to say you don't have to deal with the HR department?
Well, we have a HR department, but it's really small. It's like 2 people.
Yeah, good. Because the HR departments are the devil's work. The tool of the devil.
That and HOAs.
What's HOAs? Oh, HOAs.
HOAs.
Yeah. What are they?
Tell us what you think about HOAs.
Oh, what I can't. I would be breaking terms of service if I told you what I thought about HOAs. Oh my God, the amount I see it all the time on YouTube about some HOA here or there, just absolutely doing breathtaking things, and it anyway. Enough annoyance. No, I'm going to be peaceful. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be lotus-like.
Anthony.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the Pope broke his holiday and he went over and visited a surprise visit to a Poor Clare monastery. You know who the Poor Clares are?
Yep, Clare of Assisi.
Correctamundo. Yep, Clare of Assisi.
She was a contemporary. She was a contemporary of Francis, and they were companions.
Indeed, they were. And
they loved each other very much.
Yeah, she's great. Is Clare. So, I don't know what it means. What does it mean? Is he signalling something, or I don't know. It's too early to overanalyze the Pope. I really, what I want out of this Pope is his first encyclical. Then I can say, okay, so this is where he stands on the big issues. That'll make me happy. Anyway, we've moved on from cryptids. I haven't had a chance to go into that channel that you and I go into where we listen to aliens and Bigfoot. And I miss that channel. I've got to keep in touch with that channel because
the problem is I'll usually put it on because I don't like. I've always got to have some white noise. Do you have a fan or white noise playing while you sleep, or is it all just quiet when you sleep?
It's quiet as a church mouse.
I like to have a fan running.
Oh no, actually, when I go to sleep, usually I crawl into bed with my phone. And I put on a serial killer documentary and I fall asleep to that. So the last thing I go to sleep to is a psychopathic murderer.
Do they ever incorporate into your dreams?
No, not really. I mean, things have like incorporated into my dreams, but usually by morning my phone's out of battery because it's been playing serial killer all night. And it's just out of battery, and then I plug it in, it charges.
Can you put the plug in? Can you have a plug next to? Can you plug it in next to your bed? Do you have like what I have as an end table, and I kind of plug it in and just listen to it that way?
I probably could if I got a long enough cable, but I don't really need to. I don't really need to. The neighbours bringing in the bins. That's what the rumbling in the background is.
Well, we're going to get some more thunderstorms, and so the airport is about 5-10 minutes away, and so that's why the planes are flying a little lower. You don't really usually hear them.
Did you say you're getting another airport?
No. No, I said we're getting another thunderstorm, so the planes are flying a little lower than what they normally do. But I always thought it was going to be bad because the airport's so close. But I don't know. They don't really make a racket too much during the day.
I grew up living near an airport, and you just screen it out. Mm-hmm. It just becomes background noise.
Yeah. Well, like out back here, past the parking lot, or as you would call it, a car park, there used to be, they used to have what's called the Ford plant, which Ford had this plant and they tore it down and they built some housing there. But for years and years and years, it was the Ford plant. And there was a train that would go by I wasn't living here at the time, but there are there's some abandoned train tracks right out back here with some overgrown brush and stuff. So it wouldn't honk, but um, it would make quite a racket because probably maybe 200 feet from where I'm living, 300. I'm not
I
a good
bet you
judge of
that was
distances.
kind of an institution like that. That was the employer in the area. Because
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
one like close to me as well. And then when Forge closed down, then they closed down the factory. I suppose they sold off the land. I'm not sure. But yeah, and then Ford was gone. And it was a big hole in the local community because it employed thousands of people. Um, and that was it. You know, it was gone.
You know,
Corporate.
that's probably the really sad thing about places like Flint, Michigan, or Detroit. You know, in the 50s and the 60s, it used to be just middle class, and so now it's hollowed out, and um, there's just like, it's kind of like Chicago. They call it Chirac, you know,
Chirac.
or they call North Minneapolis Murderapolis. You just don't. There are no go zones. You just don't go over to the north side,
Yeah,
which is,
do the cops go there?
I guess. I mean, I guess they
Only if they
have
have
to,
to.
but
If they have to, yeah.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. But the mayor, we call him Fry Baby. His name is Jacob Fry, Frey, so they call him Fry Baby. Because during the riots, he came out and cried, "Don't riot, please! Oh, just go home." And it's like during the Black Lives Matter, he came to this listening session, and they were like, "Well, do you support the defunding of the police?" And he said, "No, I don't." "Get out of here! Get the hell out of here, Jacob!" And he put his head down, put his tail between his legs, and ran. He's not. It didn't project strength. If it were me, I'd have been like, "Buzz off, lady! I run this city, not you." You
Mm.
know.
No, he should have sent the police in and cracked some heads, basically. That's the only language these
Well,
riot. A riot is a riot, and the only language they understand is sending in the police and cracking a few heads.
yeah, yeah. Um, it took the governor 3 days to call out the National Guard.
Yeah, that's
They knew it was coming.
it's so reactive. Why not be positive and be proactive and get ahead of the problem? That way you control the story. But instead, you're making yourself a victim all the time. Oh, we're these, whoever it might be. Group A is really upset because things aren't going their way. Yeah, well, bad luck. That's life sometimes. I mean, and instead they want to burn the city down. It's like, well, no, you can't burn the city down. But not enough
Well,
people.
people have
Not enough
legitimate
people. Hang on,
grievances.
I want to make this point. Not enough people in power are saying no, you can't burn the city down.
Right. People have legitimate grievances, though. That's the way they look at it.
Yeah, well, grieve like everyone else does. Take it to your politicians, take it to the council, take it to the state legislator. You've still got a right to air your grievances with your local representatives. Do it like civilized people do it.
Be a
Don't burn the
mensch.
city down.
Just be a mensch. Don't. Yeah, and I live in St. Paul, and we got a little bit of it, but I remember they called a curfew, and I was an essential worker, so I just got on the freeway and went home. But yeah, there was smoke. We could smell smoke, tear gas, and fires
See,
and stuff. And
who's
then,
gonna want to invest in that? Who's gonna want to invest
huh?
in Minnesota if there's the smell of
In
tires
Minneapolis,
burning
yeah.
and yeah, they ruin cities.
but they get away with it.
Yeah, and you should never let them. But
You
I
know
know, I
why?
know it's
'Cause
not you. It's not your decision. But
well, you know why? It's because they don't want to be called racist.
yeah,
Racist, racist, racist.
exactly. Yeah. Anyway.
So that means a certain segment of the population just gets to do whatever they want, and you can't say anything. It's like, hang on, you don't get to trash police. I mean, they trashed the third precinct. They lit the third precinct on fire. The police pulled out. They burned the building down.
Yeah. Well, the police pulled out instead of going out and making a cordon and saying, "No, you're not going to set this on fire." The police said, "Oh well, maybe they didn't get the backing from the mayor. Maybe they rang the mayor and said, "Yeah, mayor, we realise the situation. We're about to make a cordon out front." And the mayor turned around and said, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't
What's
be
a
seen on
cordon?
camera hitting black people or minorities or whoever it is. No, no, that's terrible." I mean, it's just so weak. It's just so darn
What's a
weak.
cordon? What's a cordon?
A cordon, a line of police.
Oh yeah, a line. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, hoses and dogs, right? I mean, that's not a good look given the 1960s. But
I
the
don't care.
high-powered water hoses.
Hmm.
Or it's like, hey, if you're in this area after dark, well, you're going to be arrested. Well, I wasn't part of the riot. Well, then go home. You shouldn't be there. Go home.
That's the thing. If you're in an unlawful assembly, which is what is the definition of a riot, it's your duty to disperse. Go home. It's your duty. If you go to a protest and it starts to turn ugly, then a good person goes home. A lawful person goes home. Say, I don't want a bar of this violence. I don't want. They're not doing it in my name. They're throwing rocks at police. They're burning buildings. I don't want to be a part of that. A good person goes home. These scumbags who stay on the street, and it annoys me that the police are so tepid in their response to it. Oh, we don't want to be racist. No, go out there and club them over the head with your dog and hit them with your pistol. I don't care. Just really get rough.
Well, yeah. Well, it's sort of like, you know, uh, 70 years of democratic government. And you sort of talk to people and you say, well, and you don't tell them who to vote for. It's just sort of like, hey, you have a choice. Well, and then they'll gaslight you and say, well, you know, hey, it's the Republicans' fault because for 12 years during the 70s, we had a Republican government and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, but it's called broken windows policing, and they don't enforce little things. And and for those who were listening, what broken windows policing is, you clean up the broken windows, the trash, mow the lawns, and you will see that bigger crimes, will fall drastically. Rudy Giuliani did it. They cleaned up the graffiti in the subway,
Yeah.
and people wanted to ride the subway again. I wouldn't go to New York if you paid me.
Mm.
It's sad,
Yeah, New York is an interesting bellwether in the US because there are times I would have loved to visit New York. But right at the moment, it seems like, man, if I went to New York, I'd get jacked up and lose my wallet and my passport, and I'd get robbed, and probably robbery with violence, and it's just like, well,
aggravated assault.
yeah, it's not the right time to go to New York. It's too scary.
Well, it looks like they're getting ready to elect a socialist mayor, and this wingnut suggests having government-controlled grocery stores.
No,
Because we're
I've
gonna
seen-
price.
I've
Yeah, we're
seen
gonna
that
price.
trailer.
Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I
Price
have.
controlled.
What's his name?
You know, and it's
Monenzas or something.
Zohan something.
Yeah, he's an idiot. I mean, and he says, yeah, it's going to be cheaper because they're not going to have to pay property tax, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's called Breadlines.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called Breadlines.
Yeah, and it'll be just like Cuba. Okay, great. So you want us to be more like Cuba? Okay, great. He's
Or the Soviet Union.
What's his profession? Like, what did he do before he got into politics?
I don't know what he did. He's only been a citizen for like 7 years.
Crazy. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. We should probably wrap it up at this point. Thank you for our 2 viewers at the moment. And thank you to Marsh. And that's us out.